Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Kryptonite from Drip to Wealth, and every Wednesday we host Twitter Spaces with a special guest. This week we had Chris from Spritz Finance, and we talked about the amazing Drip Community Rewards Program. This program has an incentive for us to win upwards of $35,000, where they will actually buy Drip, burn it, aka send it to the tax vault. We just need engagement, all right? So listen up to find out more. Until then, I wish you all peace and prosperity. Stay hydrated. Enjoy. Chris, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I got you. How's it going?
Fantastic. I'm awesome. How about yourself?
Just couldn't be better. Midweek and week's going good, so that's a good sign.
Excellent. So let's do this. Let me introduce myself and then I'll ask you to do the
Oh yeah.
same. So my name in the space is Kryptonite, and I've got a platform called Drip to Wealth. And every Wednesday, we'll host Twitter Spaces, primarily for the Drip and Animal Farm ecosystem.
hmm
And we tend to cover everything within the ecosystem, like products. We'll review AMAs, provide updates, and then just have like a formal discussion at the end of the month just to kind of take a temperature on how everyone's feeling within the community.
Yep.
And it's a great place for people to be very transparent and candid, which is what I love about it.
hmm
But I also wanted to start to broaden our reach and include people outside of the ecosystem. Because you and I both know that you can only grow so much within the confines of your own four walls. Like at some point, you've got to open up the door and let other people outside of your community in order for you to truly scale.
Yeah.
So recently, we've been asking other folks outside of the community to come on and especially any partners and kind of introduce themselves and explain the value proposition to the Drip community, which is obviously why I reached out and asked you to be on today.
Sounds good to me, Kryptonite. Yeah, pleasure to be welcomed. I just have to say I've been there's been so many Drip users, Drip community members as that have been using Spritz over time, and through that I've met so many folks like yourself who are just public in the community, kind of guiding people, and then they have really welcomed me into the Telegram groups and everything, and it's just been a really pleasant group of folks to get to know and see what's up, and everybody's just trying to have fun, meet people, and hopefully build a little wealth, and be successful too. And I think a lot of those values align with what we're doing at Spritz. So pleasure to be here. And yeah, I mean, without further ado, I am the founder of Spritz, and we're a small and mighty team based around the U.S. and abroad. And we've created an app. First for U.S. users, but we are looking at expansion. We can talk about that. That
Okay.
enables crypto users, earners, freelancers, traders, investors. If you've got crypto coming in and you want to use it in the real world for something, whether it's a little utility bill or making a huge payment or hopefully changing your life someday, right? And kind of changing
Right.
your lifestyle, then
Totally.
Spritz is the solution for you, where we're not aligned with an exchange or even like a Binance or Coinbase, or we're not aligned with a given network. We are on Binance Smart Chain, but we're also doing Bitcoin and we're also on Ethereum. And so we just want to be a tool and an app and a partner for you as you're trying to reach your real world goals and honestly pay the bills. So that's what Spritz does. We're at spritz.finance or app.spritz.finance.
Love it. And I'm so glad that you guys decided to participate and partner with the Drip community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did that start? What's the backstory there? Was it the existing relationship with Drip Coach, or had you guys heard about us?
Yeah, it was a little of both. But yeah, we do
Okay.
have to credit Drip Coach. I think is here. What's up? He's just been, kind of an instrumental single point of contact, like a kind of
Yeah.
the loudest voice in some ways, an advocate who got my attention and said, "Hey, we're here and we're a growing community. We love Spritz." I've been so fortunate building Spritz. We've had so many users of Spritz who are, not surprisingly, who are actually creators themselves, on YouTube or Twitter or wherever, right? And just
Yeah.
creating little content, for the benefit of their users about Spritz, unpaid, unprompted. It's just been kind of this beautiful thing, and that's really driven our growth, honestly, up till through now. And so I really kind of respect and appreciate those folks, and Drip Coach was one of them. And said, hey,
Okay.
come on to the AMA, come on to the, and we had just great questions, and it's kind of leveraged from there. And I really wanted to think about, hey, we've been doing work with maybe individuals who are affiliates, or even paying some affiliates, or ads, or whatever. But how do you benefit a community?
Mm.
That's not necessarily, yeah, obviously there's leaders of Drip, so to speak, but it's a decentralized community. How do we benefit everyone kind of equally in a natural way that aligns with what they're trying to do,
Uh,
right? Not just like
yeah,
paying
gotcha.
some dude or whatever. So
Hmm.
that's how we came up with this program ultimately.
No, and let me ask you, is this the first type of beta testing for this type of promotion, or have you done this with other folks in the DeFi space?
No, this is really the first. I don't know if it's quite the first. It's definitely the most robust, well thought out, well launched. There's a
Okay.
community called Vapor. There's another EMP Money. There's been a few kind of sub communities and communities that we've done some simple collaborations with, some simple promotions. But I think to create
Yeah.
this tiered reward system, and then to do a buyback or a burn or whatever it is in a native way for a protocol like Drip is really a new thing, for us. And so far, so good.
Good, good, good. Well, I'm so glad to have you guys to be willing to partner with our ecosystem because there's tons of choices in the DeFi space. And clearly, it's all about networking, forming relationships, and then trusting the source. In this case, it sounds like Drip Coach did some heavy lifting. But then I know you guys go through your own process of kind of vetting a community to make certain that you're aligning with the right type of people, right? Because your
Yep.
brand is on the line. So, was there something specific you guys noticed in our community outside of maybe the numbers that say, hey, this kind of makes sense, right? We're equally yoked in the way that we view things, our points of view. Like, did we get that deep dive, or was it just like, hey, let's just try something because we're looking to scale?
Yeah, a little of both.
Okay.
Right. To be honest, there's aligned interest in, Spritz. Is I think a beneficial service to all sorts of folks, and especially the types of folks who are engaged in whatever you want to call it, investment programs, and yield farming or whatever, on chain, and that includes Drip. So there's that kind of the fundamental alignment is there. In terms of ideals, I mean it's hard to find like deep ideals, right? Certainly not like political or anything. So I wouldn't really point. Any part of the beauty of it is that there's a lot of diversity of thought. Um,
Yeah.
but I will say that it certainly helped, or potentially was necessary in some ways, that whether it's Drip Coach or yourself, or the many people who are just everyday users of Spritz, who I met and said, "Oh yeah, I'm a dripper. I'm in Drip community." Just the
Yeah.
nicest, interesting, genuine people, that I've met as users, just trying to make it work, on chain, and all sorts of backgrounds, and types of folks, young and old and whatever. And so I think that was a huge, the diversity, and then kind of the pleasantness, so to speak, of the community made it a lot easier for me to lean in and say, yeah, let's do what we can to make this work.
Good. I love it. Okay, so let's jump into it because I know a lot of people have probably heard about Spritz, but never really kind of pulled the tent back to figure out what it really is outside of, hey, there's potential for a buybacks with drip. Like in your own words, for the novice, how would you explain to them what Spritz is and how it benefits them?
Yeah, Spritz is, we are an instant off ramp, for example, where you don't have to custody your crypto with us. You don't have to store it with us. You don't have to lock it up. You don't have to give us your keys. You just
Mm.
connect to Spritz with the wallet that you like, Trust Wallet or Exodus or whatever, on whatever
Yep.
chain. Could be BSC, but could be Polygon. Whatever crypto you've got, whether it's BNB or USDT, and you can connect to Spritz and move that to your bank account in 5 seconds or less, for hundreds of banks, in the U.S. So you don't need the exchange account. You don't have to trust them. This exchange. You don't have to do you still have to do
Hmm.
KYC with Spritz, but you don't have to do kind of the crazy KYC from the exchanges. So we're your
And it's
partner.
pretty simple though, right? On the KYC, because I know that's come up as a question. It's a
Yep.
pretty straightforward process, right? An email and
It's
maybe
straightforward.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to have a U.S. Address for the U.S. off ramp. It's a U.S. bank. We can't be anonymous if we're dealing with real money in the real financial system. But we
Yeah.
made it as lightweight and quick as we could. So we've got the off ramp. We've got, how else do you want to use your crypto? Maybe you want to spend on Amazon.com, or you want to tap to pay at Starbucks, or, Jersey Mike subs or something. I think I saw somebody put a
Yeah.
video out where they're buying a sub sandwich. Um, so we've got a card, right? It's a virtual card now. We're hoping to have it be physical later this year. But so we've got a debit card you can charge up, and no strings attached, right? It's not like you got to
Yeah.
stake some token or park crypto with us. You want to put $20 or $20,000 on your card and spend it. You can do that instantly at Spritz. And then of course we've got the bill pay. If you just want to say, hey, I don't need to move money to my bank. I don't like the bank. I'm not getting any interest. I don't trust them. Um, Add your mortgage, your student loan, add your existing credit card to Spritz, and you can make a payment. Again, $10, $10,000, make a payment to those bills. So yeah, anything you want to do, we want to be there for you.
Excellent. And then from my understanding, the fees are relatively affordable. Is
We're
that a true
trying. Yeah,
statement?
exactly. We're trying, right?
Yeah.
Balance. We gotta pay our bills. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the background to make everything work for you. But
Yeah.
it's really kind of offensive to me when you go to MetaMask and you want to on ramp, want to buy $100 of crypto with your card, and they charge you $5, for that service. How are we going to
Hmm.
get people? How are we going to get like the everyday person who's skeptical enough of crypto? How are we going to get them into crypto if we're going to kind of rip their face off on the first transaction, right? That's just it's just
Yeah.
silly. So for us it's one. The fees are as low as 1.5% or as high as 2% on the transactions, depending on if
Okay.
you're doing more or less with us each month. And the first $100 is actually completely free at Spritz. And again, it's percentage based. So if you do $100, your fee is zero. If you do $200, your fee is, what, $2 or $3 or something like that, right? So it's just 2% on the extra $100, right? So it's very low. It's just pennies, for a lot of people, and that's the way we try to keep it.
Got it. Chris, let me ask you this, because obviously I know you've done your homework and it sounds like it's something you're extremely passionate about, is, trying to get a lot of the people that are unbanked, a way to interact with digital currency and
Yeah.
making it affordable and accessible, to as many people as possible. Let me ask you this. So when you think about your fees, because this has come up
Hmm.
in small conversations, when you think about your fees, we both agree that they're affordable compared to something like a MetaMask, which is, apples to apples, kinda, because I'm saying it's part of
Sure.
crypto.
Yeah.
When you compare yourself to your peer group, are you again kind of at parity? Are you a bit favorable? How do you line up with your peer group?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know what comes to mind if you think of the peer group. There are a few other services out there, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I would think like the folks that are kind of being introduced to crypto,
Mm.
they would interact with like centralized exchanges,
Hmm.
right? So that your competitor in the space would then be like a Coinbase, Crypto.com, or Binance
Yep.
as an example, right?
Yep.
So let's stay with centralized before we get into DeFi, because we already know DeFi is pretty small
Yep.
and growing, but predominantly those three
Yep.
players.
Yeah. I mean, well, what are exchanges like? If I would answer in a few ways, like, if all you want to do in crypto is buy USDC, keep it at Coinbase, and then withdraw USDC when you need
Yeah.
to, like a bank, then you can do pretty low. That's actually, I think, free
Gotcha.
on Coinbase. Now, as soon as you start to trade, you've got all the trading fees, which are high for small volumes, and then you can't, if you're going to take it out again, you've got to trade. So you've got this round trip trading fee, and then you can't really do anything on an exchange except for just exchange, right? So if you want to actually
Yeah.
do, get involved with Drip, for example, right now you've got to, how do I get it to Binance Smart Chain? How do I get it onto a wallet? How do I get into Drip? Okay, now I've got some profits I'm harvesting or whatnot. How do I get it back to the exchange? Okay, Coinbase doesn't take a Binance Smart Chain deposit. Okay, how do I bridge it?
Mhm.
Okay, now I got to trade it. Where do I trade it? Okay, now I can withdraw it back to my bank. Days later,
Yes.
many transactions, fees, and the opportunity to, frankly, to screw that up and lose it.
Yeah.
So, that's where, hey, just connect your wallet to Spritz and hit a button for 1.5%. There's no headache, there's no waiting. A lot of times you're coming out ahead on fees, and even when maybe you've
Hmm.
got a clever way to do it yourself, maybe you're an expert, well, it's going to be a few hours of time every time you want to do it, and we're going to save you that headache.
Yes. Perfect. Because again, part of my goal coming away from this conversation is to really just expose people to Spritz because it's been a buzzword in our community. And people obviously have questions, and rightfully so. That means they're doing their own research and they're digging in. But the benefit of something along those lines with questions, it means people are now curious because they're considering getting into it. So it's like, what would
Mm.
be the concerns, right? So one of what would be fees. How does it compare to what I'm using today,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it's at parity with what I'm using today, then maybe I consider Spritz because Spritz is now have a rewards program with the drip community. So now there's an incentive for me to off ramp using Sprints
Mm-hmm.
if my fees are at parity with the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm completely aware of the product offerings associated with Spritz. Maybe I consider using them now because there's a conversation with people I trust in the drip community and they've kind of verified that it's a trustworthy source and a way for me to off ramp my crypto.
Yep.
So the best way to get that information, Chris, and you and I both know that, is you got to go to the source, right? Because people have a way of actually getting all of the correct information because they're getting sound bites
Mm-hmm.
from multiple sources and kind of forming an opinion, right? So they
Yeah. Well, go to the source, like you said.
all overwhelmed with life, our profession, social
Yeah.
obligations, and then this thing called crypto, which we're all kind of digging into. We only have a certain amount of time and hours in a day. So how do we tap into
Yep. Do I hear you?
multiple YouTube videos and, if possible, talking to the CEO of Spritz and getting the information firsthand and asking those questions, right? So again, I appreciate you coming on and being completely transparent and not shying away from any specific question.
Yeah, happy to. I
Let's
appreciate
do
that. Yeah, I
this.
mean, we're we're trying to be, real people. If you another thing we take pride in is if you go to our site, our app, Spritz.finance, you can sign up. There is an in-app chat, and you will get our real team. You will get me, you will get my chief of staff, you will get our engineers. Same on Discord, right? You will get help right then and there from real people who are there to help you with questions big and small. Um, we want to be an app that you trust, you're trusting us not just with a crypto protocol, but with, maybe your mortgage or something like that. So yeah, we're just, and when we, if we fall short in terms of information, we want to know about it, and we do our best to publish it. So, that to me really does go a long way. I've seen for, myself certainly, and family members, but certainly for a lot of Spritz users, and I do a lot of calls myself with them. Yeah, just kind of getting face to face and being out there. It goes a long way.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially if you're trying to form relationships, because that's key in people trusting you with their hard-earned money. Yeah, they gotta trust that source. So any way that they can interact and engage with people in a position that makes decisions or a position of influence, that's great because people just simply want to be heard. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's jump into Drip Community and the rewards program. You guys are
Yeah.
offering up to $35,000. Up to
That is
30.
correct, sir.
That's a lot of money, and people need to realize that 35 grand buys a ton of drip, right? That's anywhere between 130k to maybe 140k drip tokens. That goes a
Yep.
long way for our circulating supply, right? So let's talk about it. So there's really three separate
Hmm.
tiers, right? So we've got a new Spritz user tier, transaction volume tier, and then the amount of active users. So I'm
Yep.
looking at the infograph and the new Spritz user signups. That seems pretty attainable, right? So we're only asking for
Hmm.
maybe 500 new users, and the reward there is $1,000. And if it's 1,000 new users, the reward is 2,500 bucks. All right. So the new user, the way that you define it is anyone that actually connects a wallet that is tied to a faucet.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
And who has not used Spritz before in this case?
perfect. So literally a new user.
Yep.
Fantastic. And that seems, and I think I saw another, because you guys are doing a good job of kind of updating. I think you guys made a post not too long ago. They gave us an update on the number
It's
of,
on Twitter. Yeah.
yeah,
We're getting close to we're about halfway or so to the just the new user sign up, that 500.
yeah,
Um, but it really kicks in if those new signups become active users, right? You sign up, but then you do an actual transaction on Spritz. So even just as little as $50, you off ramp some BNB or something or BUSD to your bank account. Now you're in the active user bucket, and that's
yeah.
like 10x. That's kind of that third. So just 100 users, active users, $500. If those 500 signups become real users, and I know they will, but we've got until July 31st. Then that's $5,000 just there. If we get 1,000, that's $10,000. So the real rewards are sign up for Spritz, but then you got to do that $50 transaction, and then that's what we're all in it is to get some new converts, right, to the Spritz
Absolutely.
platform.
Yeah. And when we say $50 transaction, it could be multiple transactions, five transactions
Yeah,
at $10 piece gets you to 50 bucks.
yeah, that's totally right. Yeah, exactly. So we just want you to really, truly taste the platform and hopefully I think see the magic and because we think you'll come back if you do it right. So you just got to get
Yeah.
over that hump. If it's
Hmm.
there, connect your bank account or just add a bill or say, hey, well, how about I'm sitting in I don't know, Georgia, and I've got my garbage bill. I
Yeah.
want to add. You can add it and then make a payment. I don't know if it's $50 or whatever it is, but make two payments, and then that'll qualify.
Yeah, because it is massive. So 100 new active users gets you $500. 500 new active users gets you 5,000. 1,000 active users gets you to 10, and then 2,000 active users gets you to 25. And
Yep,
that's
that's the big one.
big. Yeah, especially when we factor in the number of wallets that we have, and it's debatable about the number of individuals, but we're talking about 150,000 plus wallets. So in theory, that's like 1% of our total. And people
Yeah.
just need to spend a total of 50 bucks. And here's what I would say to people that are listening and will listen later this evening is here's what I know to be true. I know that we're off ramping money, fiat, right? We're swapping crypto, converting it into something, USDT, BUSD. We're doing something and eventually converting it into fiat and using it for some purpose in the real world. Why not try something that incentivizes the drip community and use Spritz, and then allow an opportunity for someone to buy back drip and send it to the tax vault? And we all know what happens when someone sends something to the tax vault and then buy drip. There's price
Yep.
appreciation. So the ask is pretty simple because it's something you're already doing. Like, that's what I want to overemphasize. It is something that most of us are already doing. So if you are a true dripper and believe in the ecosystem, and you have personal testimonies from people that are aware and have tried with good experience the Spritz app, then it seems like it will be a no-brainer, right? It just would be.
Yeah. And I want to add, just to be really clear, in case anyone thinks this, we're not asking you to use drip token for
Good
any of the
point.
animal farm on Spritz. That is not a requirement. I know it can get confusing, right? Because you're like, well, I've got the drip, I'm a drip community member, and Spritz is for off ramping. You don't need to touch drip or really, any of the assets. It could be USDT, DAI, BUSD, BNB. Heck, it can even be on Ethereum mainnet or Polygon or something else. It can be Bitcoin. We've also launched Bitcoin last month in Dash. So it could be any of those, right? So,
Yeah.
don't touch your drip, but just register, connect the wallet so we know you're a drip member, then do whatever you want. We're counting it, and you're going to benefit the community.
Sounds good. And Chris, if this is okay, I've got a speaker that just joined.
Yeah.
Her name is Crypto Professor Girl. CPG, can you hear me
Yes,
okay?
hi. I'm
Hey, how are
yeah.
you?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, good, good.
Hey,
Welcome to
Crypto
the
Professor
call.
Girl.
Hi,
Yeah,
Chris.
we've got Chris on.
Um,
Howdy, howdy.
yeah, Chris and I just talked 15 minutes ago. So I'm sitting and I got the video. I got the video. I'm editing it, so I'll try to post it very
All right, there
soon.
you go.
Right on,
Good.
CPG. Right on. Good, good, good. Now, CPG, you obviously use Spritz, I'm guessing.
Yes, I've been using it since January.
Okay, perfect. So, can you share with people who are on the sidelines and haven't experienced using Spritz? Can you talk through your own personal testimony?
Yes, well, so when I started using Spritz in January, I did the standard sign up and I connected my bank account as well. So I did, just a couple of small trial runs first. Like I sent maybe like $10 to pay one of the bills for one of my credit cards, and like I sent maybe $50 or $100 to my bank, and I just kind of sat and waited, and it worked. So I was like, okay, so let me start using it. So I've been using it since then, and I actually kind of like took an effort to calculate how much I personally used. So I think like from end of January until early May, I personally transferred a little bit over $12,000 using Spritz. So
Come on, CPG.
yeah. So I mean, it worked for me, and as I was telling Chris just minutes ago, for myself, the bank that I use, I think it's on that network that Chris can talk more about, but um, I receive the off ramp works within seconds for me, like seconds or minutes, literally. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like a miracle. Um, the off ramping's been great. Now with credit cards, my personal experience that it takes several days. So it's taken anywhere between 1 to 5 days, I think, depending upon the credit card company, but it always arrives. I did have one snafu once with MetaMask where so I sent one bill and it had been recorded on the blockchain, and I did receive a confirmation message from Spritz, but when I started looking at my pending transactions in Spritz, it wasn't listed. So I reached out through the chat, and I think I might have spoken to Julie. I don't remember the name. And she said like, "Oh, I'm going to reach out to our engineers," and she fixed it within a couple of days. So, but I sent, like I said, out of 12,000 that I sent, it happened only once, and maybe a couple of months ago, and then since then I haven't had that problem before. So I would advise people that are starting just to look at their, once you sent it, look at your pending bills, so it's listed there. But I had I have still very positive experience. So that's my
Love
little
it,
testimony.
CPG.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And thanks for sharing that too, because again, it's just important that people, and we know your stature in the community, people respect your opinion and you're very honest about your experience, which is something that I think is undervalued in the DeFi space. I feel like we bite our tongue a lot. And that's a disservice to people that are really looking for guidance. And it's not necessarily fun when you say something critical. It's just a learning opportunity for us to improve in that area. So that's something I've always respected and appreciated about you. So thanks for sharing your personal testimony. So here's what I would say.
Thank you.
Like, come on, CPG, you and I, you know how we roll. So Chris and CPG, here's what I would say, because there's been some, what's the right word? Some uncertainty. How about that? Because we're talking about fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Let's use the uncertainty around Spritz, because we're getting mixed messages. I just wanted people to hear again the information firsthand, and then I'll open up for questions, Chris, in maybe like the next 5 minutes, because I know we're at 2:30 now. Firsthand to kind of experience, listen from someone's personal experience, and then hear from the CEO. And I had reservations as well, because again, I was getting mixed messages about whether or not it's something I want to get involved in. After doing my own research, I'm realizing that it's a no-brainer. Again, because I'm already off-ramping my crypto, and I'm using various other platforms that also charge me a fee. But the one added incentive is now there's a buyback feature by partnering with Spritz. And again, Spritz is what I appreciate about you guys. You're saying, look, as massive as a community as you appear to be on paper, let's demonstrate that through engagement, right? And through your community engagement, maybe this is something that becomes sustainable, right? But right now it is beta. So put your money where your mouth is, like literally put your money where your mouth is. And if this thing works, and if you're as great as a community as you say you are, this will be a win-win for both parties. All right. So Chris, you got 5 minutes so I can open it up for anybody who has questions, not to say that they will, but I want to offer
Lots of
that.
questions.
So you got 5.
Nobody likes FUD or uncertainty. So I'm always, I'll answer questions, till the cows come home, right? Just make sure everybody knows what we're all about, and take the guesswork out of it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So for my listeners, thank you guys for joining in. I know it's the middle of the afternoon. Some of you guys are probably working. And if you did, you probably ran off into an enclave or something and listening in. So thank you. So Mark, Papa Nugs, I see you. And Dogman Dripper. So for my listeners, you guys have any questions? I know one came in, and I'll wait for you guys to get some courage to join the call. Spritz, is it available in the UK? And I believe the answer is not quite yet. That is currently only available in the States, but Chris, can you confirm or deny that?
That's the answer.
Okay.
But we've heard, and I think with the drip community in particular, there's a lot of UK folks, right? The loudest sort of group I hear on any chat or comment or AMA is when UK. So that really is high. We're just finished planning our Q3, next 3 months, and UK very, very high on the list. So we're going to make every effort to do a launch very soon internationally. So I never want to overpromise, but it's definitely our intention to make that a high priority. Would love it if 3-4 months from now or better, we're making an announcement that where we can make the tent a little bigger.
How about that? Excellent. Thanks for the reply. Thanks, Frank, for the question. All right, for my listeners, anyone have a question for Chris, CPG, or myself as it relates to Spritz? And I'll poll one question for my listeners that are on now. Give me a thumbs up if you're currently using Spritz. I just want to do a quick poll. So for my listeners, give me a thumbs up if you're currently using Spritz. Okay. That's telling.
We got some newbies. No.
Yeah. Okay.
There we
So
go.
at
We got
least,
one.
yeah, we got one.
I
So
know.
again, that's the opportunity.
CPG is, yeah.
Yeah, that's the opportunity. So for me, that's massive in that once we inform and educate, then people will be willing to at least consider. So that's the whole point of today's conversation. For those who are not involved and you have other options, now here's a second option to consider with the added incentive, right? And Chris is open to questions following the Twitter spaces. You know, CPG and I both will be actively engaged with the community and will be willing to answer any questions you guys have. All right. So for my listeners, if you guys do not have any questions, I will follow back up with Chris. Chris, is there anything that you want to make certain we highlight, or is there anything you wanted to share with the community as we kind of wrap up the conversation?
Yeah, nothing in particular. You know, this community rewards program, it goes through July 31st. So we've got another month. It's been running a few weeks. We've already made a pretty big dent, but we've got, you know, a solid, 31 days of July to hit the milestones. And, I want to be as, Spritz wants to be as generous as possible to the drip community and reward the engagement. So really appreciate you guys spreading the word. If you're thinking about Spritz, now's the time to do your $50 test. I promise you it will go through. I promise you we're on the chat. You can reach us in like 18 different ways to get a hold of us. We're real people on LinkedIn and everywhere. So yeah, now is the time, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, just appreciate you all checking us out, spreading the word, and being careful with your own money. And we hope we can be there and part of the journey for you.
Sounds good. Hey, Chris, JC just joined us really quick as a speaker.
Yeah.
All right.
JC,
hey, JC,
can you hear me?
So this is a question that I actually had from my group, and Chris, you're in there as well. Right now, the timing is somewhat off, I would imagine, for a lot of folks that are in crypto. It's like right now is the buying time, right?
Yeah.
And for us to even think about off ramping, it's just kind of like, I think that might be part of the element that we're having an issue with. And so that might be part of the reason why, people aren't necessarily taking up on the offer. Is there any potential that we could try this like during more of a not so much of a on ramping time of the crypto curve, so to speak?
Yeah, totally. I get it. I mean, when I started Spritz, it was the height of the bull market. Just before the terrible events, right, of last year, and obviously we were concerned about, hey, we're focused on off ramping using crypto, but we look at the numbers every day, right, and we're growing 30, 40, 50% monthly. We're doing millions of dollars of volume. These aren't, people aren't offloading their bags, right, so to speak. There are definitely people who are like, I'm not touching my Bitcoin or my, I'm a long-term, I'm hodling, whatever, or drip. But you've got a lot of people who are, firstly, they need that cash and value to kind of get by in this, inflationary environment. Maybe they're working as a creator or freelancer, and actually that's their income, right? And so you gotta pay the bills. So we're there for those folks. And then there are others who are like, hey, let me diversify a little. Let me, skim a little off the top and just harvest a few rewards here and there, and send a little to my, to my Chase Sapphire card or whatever it is, my Citi card, to cut the bill down, this or that month. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think we're so excited about the bull market that's coming, but for now, we're there as an important tool, and there's a lot of different use cases out there.
Yeah, and I like that too. That's an interesting question, JC, because here's what I think about. Like, people need to be planning ahead of the curve, right? So to your point, they need to have as many options as possible in terms of off ramping before the bull market hits. And then
Yes.
when you think specifically about the drip community, we're literally on the heels of Triple D. And if it performs anywhere close to what we expect, smart people should be taking profits. I'm just going to say that, right? Smart people should be taking profits. And if they do, then they're obviously looking for an off ramp option. So I agree. Like the timing, could be off, but it's all about perspective. I feel like we're on the hills of Triple D doing something phenomenal. And folks that have been in there plus 12 months are looking to unload a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
And Spritz is going to be an option. Yeah.
yeah.
Great question, JC. Appreciate you, my friend. Anyone else before I let you guys get back to work? Remember, you can't be on lunch for 2.5 hours. You got to go back and actually do some work.
Don't forget that the AMA is coming up right after this too. So great timing, guys.
Perfect. Chris, thank you for your time, my friend. I know how busy you are as a CEO. I know you're probably getting pulled in a million different directions. And you had no idea who I was. And you were willing to take a chance on our Twitter spaces in what I think is one of the better communities in all of DeFi. So I hope it was worth your time. And again, if there is any follow-ups, we'll send them your way. And all the folks that are currently using Spritz, we'll do our best to fill those questions as well.
Thanks so much, Crypto Knight. Yeah, and all you guys, CPG, Crypto Professor Girl, everybody for joining in, JC. It's been great. So really anytime, and you know how to find me, Telegram, Discord, email, chat, whatever. Send me questions. hello@spritz.finance. Hit us with whatever you got, and we'll get it answered. So thanks so much.
All right, Chris, take care. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Let's get ready for the AMA. So I appreciate everyone joining in. CPG, JC,
Yeah, it
Crypto
was great.
Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, CPG. You're a rock star. All right. And then we got Crypto Mark, Todd Nugs. We also have Dogman Dripper. Thank you. Deontay Austin, right on. Who else we got? Mighty Mofo, my best friend in all of DeFi. Sir Drips a lot. Yes, sir. I see you. Frank in the building. Who else we got? This is someone new. ZZ Best. Thanks for joining us. We also have MLA. Let me do that again. ML Kagos 2022. Did I butcher that? I hope not. Thanks for joining us. And who else? I want to make sure I get everybody. We also have Armin 1421. Thanks, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day. Until then, I wish you all peace and prosperity. Stay hydrated. Take care, everyone.